Because the how will come when your attitude is right. Because the facts don't matter. Because when your attitude is right, the facts don't count. And the reason why the facts don't count is because if you look at it, there's a lot of individuals that have great families. They have got a family support. I personally have participated in going to AAU tournaments, basketball games, things of that nature. I participated in playing sports. I remember growing up here in Houston, another guy that I have a lot of respect for here in the city of Houston, Mr. John Lucas, Sr. He would run basketball camps, but he also worked with a lot of us kids. He personally worked with me on volunteers. And the story I would say that resonates the most with me was there was a particular game where I played against his son, John Lucas III, who eventually made it to the NBA. And at the time he was playing with Emeka Okafor, who also made it to the NBA. And in this particular game, I started out real fast, was getting buckets over the course of the game. Even over the course of that particular season, anytime I played Bel Air High School with those guys, I had a little bit of something towards his son, and there was a little bit of trash talk, little this and that. It was a different type of energy because, to be totally honest, I did have a little bit of jealousy towards him based on the fact that he had a father like John Lucas Sr., who obviously was in his life, attended the games, but also I think provided him certain advantages that I didn't have. Not necessarily monetarily, but just having a father that worked with you on your game, was there, that allowed you the opportunities that, being a kid coming up and not necessarily having a father around like he did, you kind of had that type of, there was a little bit of jealousy there on my part, which I admit. And I also felt like I was better than him, which is, that's basketball. It's competitive. But at the end of the day, in a game where I missed a lot of shots, probably shot something like, if we was doing stat numbers that particular game, I may have shot like 7 or 8 for 25, something crazy like that, and we lost. This man, John Lucas Sr., spent 30 minutes after the game, even after I talked trash to his son. He spent 30 minutes after the game coaching me, telling me things I could do to improve my game, telling me things I could do to improve my shot. I still respect this man to this day because of that. He's a sincere individual. He works with kids to this day, and he works with the Rockets to this day, right now as we speak. And, I look forward to having the opportunity of him possibly working with my son, who's also got a love for the game, even at a young age. But that's neither here nor there. John Lucas, in that situation that I had jealousy for, LeBron James never met his father. I don't even know if he knows who his dad is. When you go and look in this man's background, do you understand that growing up, there was nobody who I know who knew what Akron was or heard of the city of Akron, Ohio? I never heard of Akron, Ohio until LeBron James was even coming into public knowledge and consumption. And these are facts. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, I'm from Houston, Texas. And if you listen to how I talk, I don't really sound like somebody from my city. And that's really something that kind of bothers me to a certain degree, because I tend to have sort of like a northern New York type accent to my voice. And you know where that comes from? That comes from when I was a child, being blessed to have the opportunity to go to New York due to my aunt who lived in Yonkers and family in Manhattan area of New York. Going up there for Christmas and summer, and being a child from the South here in Houston, coming up there, me and my brother, and we talked just like anybody else from the South, just like anybody else from here. We had the same slang, sounded just like that. But the thing that what happened is I was 11, 13 years old, and what they would do is they would point out the way we talked, and they would kind of make fun of how we talked. And one of the things that resonated with me growing up, even through my mother, was that she always wanted us to sound intelligent, and she also wanted us to talk like we had some sense, as she would say. So when I would go up there, it wasn't just that they made fun of how we talked, or ask us to repeat certain things we would say based on our southern drawl or how we spoke, but it was almost like they were saying that we sounded stupid or unintelligent based on our southern accents. And that was kind of odd to me, because I remember being in elementary, going to school in the hood, and the kids in my classes, even some of the girls, would be like, "Why you talk white?" Or when you try to exhibit intelligence or presented yourself a certain way, which I had been raised to from my mother or even my dad, who was around at the time, you would be like viewed as, "Man, why you trying to sound right? Why you always talking white?" And basically all I was doing was using good diction. And through that, I was attracted to New York rappers at the time: Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie. Of course, I was a Tupac fan coming up. But from the time I got from 8th grade to through high school, after coming back from like being 17, from 12, 13, in my formative years, I started to adjust the way I talked or sounded to fit in when I was up there. And when I came back, I was unable to really kind of change it because of the music I was listening to. Because I viewed the New York rappers as sounding more intelligent through their metaphors or their use of the English language, and how they would actually use and do their verses and the words they would actually use, versus our southern rap at the time. Even looking at guys like Scarface has always sounded you could put guys like I said, Scarface here from H-Town, his lyrics against anybody. Bun B the same. R.I.P. Pimp C, one of my greatest favorite rappers of all time. But as far as lyrics goes, New York basically was seen as having all the lyricists. If you wanted to be like listening to intelligent rap, that was where it was at. So that changed the way I spoke. But that's not truly a representation of who I am and where I'm from. This man represents his city to the fullest in Akron. But you gotta understand, nobody in the history of time had ever made it out of Akron and made it as an NBA superstar to the level he had. So to believe that he could do that with no father, poor, coming from the hood, single mother 15 years old, comes from also him looking up to Allen Iverson, whose mother was 15 years old, coming from Hampton, Virginia, a city that hadn't necessarily produced superstar athletes either. For Kobe Bryant to believe he could be great, he basically adjusted and dictated and made his game the equivalent to Michael Jordan, but better. He said, I can do everything Michael Jordan can do, but I'm going to have better ball handling skills and I can shoot the three. So I'm better than Jordan. Jordan defended and competed. I'm going to do that too. If anything you get from this video, I'll leave you with this. I love you. I send that energy towards you. I wish all of the best things in life for you. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to understand that you have gifts and talents and abilities that you haven't accessed, that you can access, that I want you to access now. I want you to do research on yourself to find out what the best self you are so you can live your best life, like my man Lil Duval would say. And tell these folks to smile, bitch. But anyways, it's been very fun for me to go on this long rant. This may be my last rant that I ever post like this. But I want you to take this video as a starting point for you to, if you haven't already, live your best life, become your best self. I suggest then any and everybody look up their own birth chart. You know, a lot of people follow astrology. Look into your birth chart. Study and master yourself. And then live your life according to putting yourself in a position to be happy and fulfilled. Even if you don't know how you're going to do it, focus on why you want to be happy. Why and what. The thought process. I suggest strongly that you look up the Your Wish Is Your Command series and Gen materials that are very educational. I suggest people look into reading books like The Magic of Thinking Big. See You at the Top by Zig Ziglar. The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol, and many others of that same genre. I really and sincerely pray that a lot of people apply some of the laws of success in 16 Lessons by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Read my man James Prince's book, The Art and Science of Respect. You see the exhibit of somebody who actually literally applied these things without even knowing it, but applied a lot of the principles based on things he had learned from the streets, and the book Think and Grow Rich, which I also suggest, from Napoleon Hill. And you can see in this man's life what he's been able to accomplish. Even to be successful on the streets, one must have a certain code of honor, respect, and standard, structure. No matter what you do, be the best you. Do what's best for you and your family. May God bless you and keep you. All praises to the Most High. And I'm out.